Hello everyone and welcome back guys to episode 5 of our MotoGP20 Let's Play. We're back here ready for the 5th round of the championship. If you missed out on the last one, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. But today we head to the French Grand Prix. Very much looking forward to this one. Obviously at Le Mans Bugatti, a track that I personally know quite well in motorsport. But obviously, jumping into it, very much looking forward to this weekend. It's going to be good getting back on MotoGP once again. If you are new around here, do make sure you get yourself subscribed as well. But if qualifying is just another broken, weird thing, we'll probably jump straight into the race. But hopefully, yes, I will see you guys in just a moment. So, coming into qualifying then, here at Le Mans Bugatti, I'll be honest, I sort of forgot they raced around this circuit before I jumped into it here today. But very much looking forward to this qualifying session nonetheless. I've driven this track quite a few times, but it's pretty much exclusively on Forza Motorsport 7. So we'll wait and see as to how it goes on a motorbike there as we head down into the first chicane, and we've invalid the lap time already. So we may as well continue on and go for another run. Attempt number 2 then, here at Le Mans Bugatti for our first qualifying run. Hopefully this time round we won't make any silly mistakes as we head through turn 1. That's probably flat if you get it hooked up, but just need to try and keep it between the white lines as we head through the first chicane. That very poor run on the exit. I must admit, I love both this version and the full version of the Le Mans circuit. It's such a historic venue and it is great, you know, that they still use the Bugatti layout for quite a few different series on both bikes and cars. It's quite a weird and wonderful little circuit, in my personal opinion, as that is a lot of curb through turn 2, but we haven't had the lap invalidated this time around there. We are running very low on fuel though, so we might have to be a bit careful about that as we head down into the next double apex right-hander. That's very deep. Not really what I wanted to be doing through there, but we're still red in both of the first 2 sectors. Hopefully we can just try and keep it nice and tidy as we head down the back straightaway in towards what is normally quite a fast chicane. Make sure we get it slowed down nice and tidily, and that's another lap gone. Hopefully we can try and get one hooked up. Coming towards the end then of our 3rd attempt here at Le Mans, we made quite a big mistake in towards the final sector of the lap, so it's probably not going to be a particularly good representative, but it is a lap time on the board, more importantly, at the end of the day. Through the final corner, attacking the curbs fairly nicely. Yeah, we're going to be quite a long way off the pole. 3.6 seconds off, but, I mean, we've got a lap time now, which is the most important thing. Coming towards the end of, I think, my 5th, maybe even my 6th qualifying attempt here. We just keep making so many little mistakes at the moment, but this should hopefully be a good representative. We're on the pace at the moment as we head down into Sector 3. Really all I'm aiming for is now just to finally try and sneak inside the top 4 and get into Q2. At the final corner though, down towards start-finish line, it is going to be a 1:45.0, so a good 3.5 tenths off pole, but we're inside that top 4 at the moment. The AI seem to be on pace, which is reassuring. There we go though, we do make it through into Q2 there, and yeah, like I said, nice to see the AI are on the pace here today. I personally struggle with trying to get the bike changed around directions through the chicane, so I think that's definitely giving them a bit of an edge around here. Obviously that first chicane and then the one down the end of the back straight, we're losing quite a bit of time. But anyway, let's jump in then to Q2. We're definitely going to have to try and get a good lap nailed here if we want to start from pole again. Here we go then, ready for my Q2 run. Hopefully we can try and get a nice tidy lap hooked up this time round. Q1 was very much sort of just testing the waters, in all honesty, as instantly, once again, we're going to invalidate the lap. What is wrong with me around here? Coming down then into the final couple of corners of our qualifying lap. Hopefully we can just try and keep it nice and tidy through these final 2 turns. We're running a little bit wide, but it has allowed us to open up the exit of the final corner there, and it's going to be way slower. It's a 46.1, which is definitely not going to be good enough at the moment. You can see already the AI back down into the 44s. We have really got to try and pull our finger out if we want a good qualifying session here. Here we go then. We're basically now giving ourselves a one-shot qualifying session at the end of this Q2. Masai currently fastest at the moment here on a 1:44.5. There's a couple of tenth gap back down to P2. So really we're aiming to try and get ourselves nestled inside that front group there. As you can see, we're currently all the way down in P17 through the chicane, kick off the lap. Oh, a bit of a wobble on the exit. We're going to certainly open up the exit of the corner, I think, a lot more than is intended. But we're still down on Masai at the moment there as we try to get the car pulled, oh sorry, the bike even I should say, through the hairpin. You can tell I'm far too used to commentating over cars and not bikes still. It's going to take a while here on MotoGP. Through the second hairpin, try to get the power down as early as possible. That had to lift out ever so slightly. What is the gap going to be? We're purple by just over a tenth of a second there, so we get a good run through there. Down the hill we go, try and get the bike stopped, then get it back on the power as early as possible. Not quite opening up the exit as I would have wanted there, but this final half of the lap is definitely the most difficult for ourselves. We really are going to need to concentrate, make sure we get it hooked up. We're going to do this. I don't even know if you can do this on qualifying runs. That was just a horrible, horrible misjudgment by myself there. Anyway, attempt 2. What can we do into the chicane? Just can't get it turned in at any point. As a big, big wobble on the exit. You can see we're back now down on Masai's time there. Down in towards the final sector. Just try and keep it nice and tidy. As best as... What is that? Sometimes the bike just turns in and rotates so quickly. And other times it just refuses to at the moment. Through the final couple of corners though. Running a little bit wide there. Trying to open up the run at the final turn. What is it going to be? It's going to be a 1:45.3. Puts us 7th on the grid. Ready for the start of this race. Let's jump in then. It's time here at Le Mans Bugatti. So Masai then once again on pole, ready for this race. And at the moment we desperately want to get our first win in this series. However, I'm a bit sceptical here at Le Mans Bugatti that today might not be our day. I'll be honest. We've still got 8 laps ahead of us. We'll wait and see as to how this goes. I'm going to try and put on a set of the medium compound tyres for this one. I just don't feel like the softs are going to quite last the way I want them to in this race as well. Obviously, we're just going to completely brim the tank as we seem to get a lot through a lot more fuel than the game thinks. But round 5 of the championship here from Le Mans Bugatti. Let's dive into this.
French Grand Prix. The riders are spread out on the grid. The light will soon go out and the Le Mans race will begin.
So our first race not starting from pole then here at Le Mans Bugatti. The 15 red lights are coming on. It's lights out and away we go. They're not very long at all on the whole. That's Antonelli getting a good start as we head down in towards turn 1. We're already up a couple of spots as well there, as it seems like everyone just trying to find some space as we head into the first corner there, running a little bit wide into turn 1. Watch for the dive bombs coming out from the AI, but it seems like we've got through the first corner pretty much unscathed here. Not too sure who we're all over the back of. It's Migno as we head down through sector 2. But yeah, I mean, we've survived the start. That's the most important thing. Now it's definitely going to be a race of trying not to get penalties here. Having a look potentially around the outside of Migno. Down in through turn 4. Can we potentially get the run on the exit? We were a little bit earlier on the power. So we'll duck into the slipstream to the outside once again. And yes, we should be now past him as we head into the double right. Unless he's going to go for the send. Yes, he is. A very, very aggressive move from Migno. But we've made the move work. We're now up to P4 of the race. So a good little start for ourselves. It's currently Masai still in the lead ahead of Antonelli and Fanatec. So no idea where our main title rival is at the moment. A little bit further down the order as we head down in towards the end of the opening lap. Hopefully we can just try and keep it nice and tidy. And see where we end up. This is so difficult to try and get it hooked up through these final few corners. Chop the nose over our rival Migno there. But through the final corner, oh, back end lifts up there. Not quite what we wanted, but we have survived the opening lap here at Le Mans Bugatti. Let's try and continue closing down this gap for the leaders. So our main type, rather than Foggier, isn't too far back in P6, but there's definitely a good opportunity to try and take some points out of him here today if we can get some good pace on the board. But yeah, Fanatec, Antonelli and Masai still trying to make a bit of a breakaway off the start of this race. However, we aren't really under too much pressure from Migno. I think we've definitely got the pace to stay where we're at the moment, at the very least. Just hopefully we can try and get some laps together, as that's going to be a 4/10 time penalty. And yeah, like I was saying though, hopefully we can try and get some laps together and close up the gap. 1.2 seconds currently off of that podium positions. Let's see what damage we can do. Fanatec fastest lap of the race. We were only a 10th off though, so we're on the pace at the moment, and it seems Fanatec is closing in on the top two a little bit as well. So all good signs. Can see end of lap 3 though, the gap is visibly closer to the top guys there. We just go quicker than Masai there, so a new fastest lap of the race. And yeah, that lap felt pretty damn good. Fuel is already looking a bit tight here, but we're doing alright at the moment here. I just pray that we don't come P2 again. I can't take many more runner-up spots in this championship, I'll be honest. You can see now though, as we reach the halfway stage of this race, the top 4 have really just opened up a breakaway at the moment. We're now trying to apply the pressure to Fanatec as we head into the back straightaway chicane. Can we get a good run on the exit? We've actually managed to get the bike rotated through quite nicely this time around. We might have to go for a little bit of a cheeky send. Up the inside we go. And we're up into P3 of this race. Just Antonelli and Masai in front of us. And I must admit, going on these mediums, they feel just as good as the softs, in my personal opinion. Oh, getting a little bit loose there though. But yeah, they do feel pretty damn tidy. I'll be honest, it was definitely a wise decision. Antonelli fastest lap. We go even faster though. Let's see what we can do. We're really starting now to get into a groove around this circuit. All over the back now of Antonelli. And yeah, finally, it took a little bit longer than normal, I'll be honest. Normally we get up to pace by the end of qualifying there, as we go right around the outside of Antonelli. But now I'm starting to feel it. These mediums are working well. Just got to try and get them through to the end of the race. But we'll back up into a very usual place in this series. Remember to P2. I only got 4/10 worth of pens though. Can potentially line up a move on Masai and then try to potentially make a breakaway there. Bike gets very loose underneath us through the final couple of corners. They're a bit of a cheeky corner cut, but the game lets us get away with it this time around there. Fastest up a 43.1. Now we're starting to get into a groove there, and Masai straight out of the way, dispatched easily, and now up into the lead for the first time in this race. We've just got 3 laps to try and hold on to it there. That's going to be another penalty of a few more tenths. Please don't let that cost us at the end of the day. Masai coming back at us though, down into turn 4. Can we potentially go for it? It's turn 6 supposedly. I'm very far out on the corners around here, it appears. There's a bit of contact between myself and one of my title rivals. Can we potentially have a look around the outside? Go for the send. Can he keep the nose? There he is. This is a fantastic battle going on at the moment. Oh, he almost understeers out into us, but we do now move up into the lead of this race. Like I said, just 2.5 laps to go now to try and hold on to it there. Masai tries to get the nose up the inside, but we're able to get the power a lot earlier on the exit of the corner there. That is exactly what we needed. Now, hopefully, Antonelli can try to apply some pressure as well. Getting a little bit worried as we head towards the final lap of this race. We're up to 9/10 worth of penalties after a couple of small mistakes here. And the gap behind us is floating at around that same margin at the moment. What is the gap? It's showing up at 0. for some reason. It is definitely not a tie at the moment. However, Antonelli is now under P2. Masai seems to have really dropped off the pace at the moment here, but I just don't want to finish P2 in yet another race in this series. I've almost got to the point now where I'd rather finish P3 than P2 in all honesty. There, a bit of a mistake through the final couple of corners. That's definitely allowed Antonelli to get a whole lot closer there, and the gap is about half a second, if I'm not mistaken, to the rider behind us. Down into turn 1 for the final time here. We need to try and get a good lap booked up if we want to try and win this race. Ride the curbs through turn 1 and turn 2. Try to keep it on the curbing at the absolute latest. And down into turn... Supposedly this is somehow already turn 6 there. And yeah, the gap only 7/10 of a second. So we need to try and pull out another quarter of a second around the rest of this lap. I don't want to come P2 again. Please, MotoGP. Allow me one race victory in this season here. Out of turn 7, down the hill we go. It's opened up ever so slightly, I think. What is the gap? It's up to a second. That's exactly what I like to see. Now it's just a case trying to hold on to it nice and tidy through the double right-hander there, out onto the back straight. Got to get the power down as best as possible here, and the gap now is starting to open up just a little bit more visibly here. Could this finally be the win that we've been looking forward to since this season began? Riding the curbs there, couldn't have got away with a lot more in terms of track limits through there, but the gap's opened up somehow. It's opened up by quite a bit all of a sudden as we head down in towards the final few corners of this race. Keep it tidy, come on, don't fall off now, don't make a mistake as we head in towards the final couple of corners of this race. Running a little bit wide. Oh, another 3/10 seconds worth of penalties there, but through the final corner, is it going to be enough? I think it is. Here at Le Mans Bugatti, a scrappy end. Finally, though, it is a win on MotoGP20.
Let's take advantage of these moments to take a look at the Moto3 final ranking.
It's taken us, what's that, 3 P2s in 4 races, and then a very poor result back at Kota, but we finally won our first race of this series there. No idea how we managed to put in that 43-1, I'll be honest with you there, but we managed to beat Antonelli by 0.8 of a second when all is said and done there. Messiah, a very good result in P3 ahead of Fanatec, Migno, Foggia, Suzuki, Lopez, Vietti. You can see down in 9th there with Fernandez rounding out the top 10. But finally, we've got a win on MotoGP20. I was honestly expecting it to be one of those horrible seasons where you're brutally consistent, but just never quite picking up the race victory at the end of the day. In terms of the championship, though, now just 8 points behind Messiah there, so his good results still keeping him at the top of the championship. Antonelli now up into P3 ahead of Foggia, and then Fanatec jumping past Suzuki as they're now both tied on 55 points. Have a look further down, Vietti jumps up past Alcoba. You've got Fernandez making big gains up 4 spots there as Yamanaka makes up a place on Baltus, and Agura there with Tatai dropping further down. Salak up 3 places as well, and we're now up to still only 23 riders that have scored there, so Garcia now on the board as well. In terms of the Teams Championships, we are still down in 4th, but we have taken a lot of points out of Sterile Garda Max Racing Team as well there, so really happy with that. I definitely feel like P3 is possible in the Teams Championship there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, do make sure you get yourself subscribed, and we will be back next time out for round 6 of the season. Finally, though, we've got that win.